You said you'd be home at 8. I never said that. You remember the argument. They remember something completely different, and somehow you're the one questioning your own mind. This has a name: false flag gaslighting, and it's the most effective manipulation tactic because you don't even know it's happening until months have passed. A 2026 study published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that 38% of people in long-term relationships had experienced false flag gaslighting at least once. And here's the part that makes it so dangerous. The person doing it often has no idea they're doing it either. It's not always a calculated power grab. Sometimes it's just human memory colliding with human ego. But that doesn't make the damage any smaller. Let's start with what's actually happening in your brain when someone tells you your memory is wrong. Cognitive dissonance. Leon Festinger mapped this out in 1957. When two conflicting beliefs exist in your head at the same time, your memory of what happened versus someone else's absolute certainty that it never happened. Your brain panics. It wants harmony. So it does something you'd never expect. It starts editing its own memories. Not because you're weak, because your brain is trying to keep you functional. Think of it like a file manager on your computer. Two files claim the same name. Your system needs to pick one, and it picks the one with higher confidence. Confidence beats accuracy. That's why people can remember things that never happened and forget things that did. Your brain is an optimization engine, not a truth engine. And gaslighters exploit that gap. Here's a real example. A woman named Sarah told her therapist she couldn't remember her own wedding anniversary. She'd been married for 9 years. On her wedding day, her husband had insisted he booked a reservation at a restaurant. Arrived at the restaurant, no reservation. He told her she must have forgotten to call. She apologized, paid for dinner, went home. 3 days later, she called the restaurant herself. They had no reservation under her husband's name either. He'd never made one. But he told the lie so calmly and with such genuine confusion that her brain accepted his version as the more reliable file. This wasn't a fight. This was a quiet erosion of someone's trust in their own mind over 9 years, and probably dozens of smaller incidents just like it. This is the gap manipulators slip through. They don't need to convince you their version is true. They just need to plant enough doubt that you stop trusting yours. Now let's break down the 3 stages, because once you know the pattern, you can't unsee it. Stage 1, doubt. It starts small. A conversation where you're sure they said they'd call. They never did. You bring it up and they look genuinely confused. I never said that. You can feel the ground shift under your feet. It's not anger you feel. It's the slow erosion of your own certainty. You replay the exchange in your head. Did I imagine that? Did I hear it wrong? The seed is planted. You don't feel attacked. You feel uncertain, and that's exactly the point. Here's the mechanism behind why doubt works so well. Your brain treats social disagreement as a threat signal. Evolution wired us to fear group rejection because being cast out meant death on the savannah. When someone you trust contradicts your memory, your amygdala fires the same alarm as if you were standing alone in hostile territory. Your body floods with cortisol. Your thinking narrows. You become less analytical and more compliant. This is biology, not weakness. Your nervous system is doing exactly what evolution designed it to do. And the person rewriting your past is banking on it. Stage 2, erosion. This is where the doubt compounds. Month 1, it happened once. By month 3, it's a pattern. Every time they rewrite history, a little more of your confidence dissolves. You start apologizing for things you didn't do. You start asking permission to feel hurt. Your brain has accepted the premise that your memory is unreliable, so you stop trusting yourself. There's a psychological term for what happens here: learned helplessness. Martin Seligman's work in 1967 showed that when people experience events as uncontrollable, they eventually stop trying to control anything at all. His original experiments used dogs in cages. The animal equivalent of this looks like a person who used to have strong opinions now agrees with everything. Not because they changed their mind, because they stopped believing their own mind matters. Let me give you a workplace version of this because it's just as common as the romantic one. Imagine you're in a team meeting. Your manager assigns you a task with a deadline. 2 weeks later, they claim they said 3 weeks, not 2. You push back slightly. They pull out a note they definitely wrote after the fact. They smile. Maybe we should write things down more carefully, yes? Everyone laughs. You smile too, but inside you're wondering if your memory is slipping. Now imagine this happens 3 more times in 6 months with the same person. You start double-checking every conversation. You start sending follow-up emails saying just confirming what we discussed. Your colleagues think you're organized, but what's actually happening is you've been trained to distrust your own recall. Your manager doesn't even need to be malicious. They just need to be wrong with confidence, repeatedly, and let their position of authority amplify the signal. This is erosion in its purest form, not one dramatic moment of realization. A slow grinding away of something you didn't know you had until it was gone. Stage 3, deference. By now, the dynamic is locked in. They speak reality. You receive it. You don't argue anymore. You don't even remember what you used to argue about. If they say the restaurant we went to had blue walls, you say, okay. You'd rather be wrong than wrong again. This is the endpoint of false flag gaslighting. Not a dramatic confrontation, a quiet surrender. Here's what deference looks like on the inside. You used to have a mental list of facts you'd defend. Your memory is on that list. Slowly, item by item, you're crossing facts off the list and replacing them with a simpler rule. Whatever they say is closer to the truth, because you're probably wrong anyway. This is the most devastating part of the process. You become complicit in your own erasure. You hand the person the pen and you say, rewrite it for me. I trust you more than I trust myself. Now here's the 2026 twist nobody's talking about yet. Augmented reality is making this problem exponentially worse. New AR filters can overlay fake timestamps on photos. They can insert fake text messages into screenshots. They can recreate audio clips that sound almost identical to real ones. 5 countries banned deepfake audio manipulation in 2025. But the underground apps cloned within weeks. A tool called Memory Forge, released on underground forums in March 2026, lets anyone generate fake WhatsApp screenshots with realistic timestamps, read receipts, and message threads. You show someone a screenshot as proof they said something hurtful. They show you a screenshot from their own phone that looks identical but says something completely different. The person looking at both pieces of evidence has absolutely no way to tell which one is real. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is your Tuesday. And it's only going to get harder to defend yourself as the tools improve. So let's talk about countermeasures. 3 specific things you can do starting today. Counter move 1. Write it down, immediately. Not in notes you edit at midnight when you're spiraling. In a place neither of you can access and change. A physical notebook, a locked password manager entry, something that dates itself automatically. When someone says, I never said that, you don't argue. You look at your written record. You don't need to win the fight. You need to keep your own mind intact. One therapist who treats gaslighting victims recommends what she calls the 24-hour rule. Write down any conversation that feels off within 24 hours while the details are still retrievable. Don't show it to the other person. Don't weaponize it. Keep it as a private anchor. 6 months from now, when you're not sure if that conversation happened, you'll have something your brain didn't generate. That's the whole point. Counter move 2. Name the pattern out loud. Not in an accusatory way, in a calm, factual way. You just told me I didn't say that, but I remember saying it. We're not going to agree right now, and that's fine. This does 2 things. It stops the cycle of self-doubt by externalizing the disagreement. And it forces the other person to confront the pattern instead of hiding inside it. People who gaslight rely on the conversation ending fast. They expect you to fold, apologize, and move on. When you slow it down and name the mechanics, you disrupt the script. It won't fix the relationship overnight, but it will break the cycle of you doubting yourself every single time. Counter move 3. Trust your body before your brain. Your brain can be manipulated. Your nervous system doesn't lie. If someone's words make you feel small, confused, or defensive every single time, your body is telling you something your mind hasn't processed yet. There's research on interoception, the study of how people sense signals from their own bodies. A 2024 study in the Journal of Behavioral Neuroscience found that people with high interoceptive accuracy, meaning they can accurately detect their own heart rate, breathing, and muscle tension without instruments. They were 63% more likely to recognize when someone was being dishonest with them compared to people who scored low on interoception. In plain terms, people who listen to their bodies catch manipulation faster. You don't need scientific proof to know something feels wrong. You just need to stop ignoring the alarm. Try this next time something feels off in a conversation. Don't engage with the content of what they're saying. Engage with the fact that your body is reacting. Ask yourself, why is my heart racing right now? Why do I feel like I'm on trial? Those sensations are not random, they are data. Here's the truth about false flag gaslighting that most people never hear. It's not about the liar being clever, it's about you slowly losing your permission to trust yourself. And the moment you get that permission back, the whole tactic collapses. They need your doubt to work. Remove the doubt, and there's nothing left to exploit.